Good morning. Today's Wednesday word is the waiting room. Isaiah 40 and 31 says, "But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up wings like eagles. They shall run and not get weary. They shall walk and not faint." Waiting is perhaps the hardest discipline of the Christian life. Whether we like it or not, we all have to wait for something. I'm sure at some point, all of us have been in an emergency room, the waiting room area, waiting on a loved one, or perhaps there to see the doctor ourselves. It's not fun at all. We get restless. We're sitting there for hours at a time. We get impatient, agitated. We just want answers. But just like the waiting room in the hospital, God also has a waiting room that He puts us in. God places us in His waiting room to learn patience and receive the strength to face whatever lies ahead of us. Waiting is part of the process of becoming what God wants us to be. God uses waiting to change us. When God tells us to wait, we take it as a no and get upset, and in turn, we don't trust Him, so we go ahead and find ways to accomplish what we want to do. If we try to jump ahead, we may not learn the lessons that will benefit us in the seasons to come. We heard this many times, but I must repeat it. Delay does not mean denial. I'm sure most of y'all remember the J.G. Wentworth commercial where it's my money and I want it now. They say if you have you receiving a long-term payment and you need cash now, you can get a lump sum from them. And no way am I advocating for them, but this is just the type of world that we live in. We want what we want and we want it now. We don't like to wait. Truth be told, most of us know that if we've received a large sum of money, it will be gone in no time. We're not ready for it. So we wouldn't know what to do with it. If you're not accustomed to having that type of money, you won't know what to do with it. You will blow it up on just meaningless things. That's just like what you're asking God for. If you're not ready for it, you will mess it up. If you've not prepared for it, you won't know how to handle it. We get mad when God doesn't give us what we want right away. But God has to grow you, He has to strengthen you, and He has to prepare you for it. And that happens in His waiting room. So what can you find in God's waiting room? You can find healing. You can find strength. You can find spiritual transformation. That's where God refines your character. You can find clarity, wisdom, and understanding. In God's waiting room, you can grow spiritually. You can find your purpose. And also, you will have that alone time with just you and God where He can build you up. What can you do while you're waiting? And I'm not talking about the waiting of an idle person, somebody who's just idle, just waiting for God to do the work. But I'm talking about the waiting of a dreamer, a believer, a faithful servant. The waiting of someone who tried it on their own and know they can only do it by seeking God, by trusting God, and obeying God. So while you're waiting, you can pray. You can be faithful. You can be ready. While you're waiting, you can trust in God's timing. While you're waiting, you can serve not only God, but others. Because in our service to others is where we will be blessed. While you're waiting, you can love others. You can believe. Do you believe that you can receive what you're asking and waiting for? While you're waiting, you can be patient. Our patience reveals the degree of trust that we have in God's timing. While you're waiting, you can cling to His word. That means read, meditate, and apply His word. While you're waiting, you can watch for answers. Sometimes God gives us an answer in our waiting room, but we miss it because it comes the way that we don't expect it to come. While you're waiting, you can praise, you can worship, and you can fellowship with other believers. When we remain hopeful despite our waiting, God rewards us with renewed strength. That is the renewed strength is us getting rid of our own strength and allowing God to clothe us in His strength. Mary and Martha spent time in the waiting room when Lazarus got sick and then died. Abraham, Joseph, Moses, and David had to wait for many years for God's promises. Everything that happened in their waiting room was used to prepare them inwardly as well as outwardly. So are you waiting for something you've been praying for a long time and the answer has not come? Could it be God is preparing you for something big? Could it be He's transforming your life? Could it be He is refining you? Refuse to believe the lies of the enemy and choose to be faithful in prayer and trust God. Let God work and don't block your blessing by moving too fast. Where are you in the waiting room? Are you angry? Are you scared? Are you giving up, losing hope? Maybe you're complaining. Or are you faithful, standing ready to respond? Until next Wednesday, be blessed.